Aquarians, welcome in to your monthly reading. This is for April. So we're going to dive in and see what is happening. Because we just had the spring equinox in the north. And the fall equinox in the south. So we are shifting energies. We are also going into another big month, one of the biggest months from an astrology standpoint and energetic. And you may be saying in your head, oh great, more? And it's like, this year has definitely shaken up to be everything we had foretold, right? Or I had kind of projected, intuitively called out. So February, April, and July, at least the first half of the year, we're going to be the biggest months. And we're going to be seeing that in April here. So again, words that are really trending in my readings and what I'm picking up is rebirth. April's a month of rebirth. A huge month of transition, transformation happening. A lot of this, we're going to see a lot more leveling up from a kind of an ascension perspective, people going through kind of an awakening. We're going to start physically seeing more things from a personal level. We're going to start seeing our realities changing more. Again, we've been kind of setting the energetic, intentions out there. The seeds are definitely starting to sprout, which is in line with the spring equinox. So whether they're starting to sprout and blossom, or if you're, the metaphor for those in the southern hemisphere, like the fall, it's time for harvest. We're going to start actually being able to reap the rewards of what we planted and what we've grown and what's now coming to be. All right. Also, I've posted some new metaphysical jewelry that I hand make on my Etsy shop. So go take a look at that. This is a big year of using our energetic tools to really help support us. And I write in all the descriptions, the metaphysical properties for each stone. So find something that you really need or resonate with, or what you're drawn to. And that may shift, right? So that's why I have my whole collection of all different sorts, because it's like a daily thing. It's like waking up and deciding what clothes you're going to wear. It's like, okay, what is the stones I need to utilize today and wear to help me? Whether it's I'm feeling emotional today, I feel like I'm trying to integrate some things. Maybe I'm going out in the world and feel I just want a little bit more energetic protection. Or I'm just not feeling grounded and need something to help ground myself. Whatever it is. All right. And then too, the other thing, if you're newer here, my books, I have, it's a series called The Sum of Everything, Book 1 and 2. It is available on Amazon. These, the subtitle here is The Human Existence in Relation to Heaven. And it's really a unique, I write in a unique way where it's really a divine way to help us awaken more. Each chapter is like a different piece of work. It's not just like this cohesive like self-help book. It really taps into different themes, different types of writing. It's really to help ultimately open you up to your own truth through your own experience. As we know, just because someone tries to tell you like this is the truth, doesn't mean it's going to resonate with you. And that's where the coding, the energetic coding behind the words, and it's going to kind of bring up emotion for you in a good way. It's going to bring up and open up energetic connections. That's going to help you awaken to your own enlightenment, your own experience, to help you find your own bliss and happiness. No one can tell you what that means, what that feels like, right? Until you experience it. So wanted to just remind everyone on that, especially where we are at. Okay, let's get in here, Aquarians. So I'm going to pull some Whispers of Aloha Oracle first. Your body talks to you. Listen to the story your physical self is sharing. This is something else as we evolve, as we ascend. We realize our body is a separate entity. The physicality is separate from our higher self. And we need to see everything in our reality as such, right? When we have a relationship with another person, we know they're separate, right? Physically, maybe not conceptually, but physically, we also see the trees and the animals and the bugs. And how we ascend into this new earth reality is realizing that what kind of relationship do I want to create with everything? And that's where we start seeing from a divine perspective, and our bodies are no different. We start to shift when we realize, how are we going to create a more loving, nurturing, supportive, successful relationship with our bodies? And it's really tuning in intuitively to what our bodies are telling us. And that's where all dis-ease is actually just coming from a place of something energetically within. So emotional, mental. And our bodies just keep the score of what's going on, from a higher level with us. And so that's where we need to really listen. And that's why we're shifting out of this. You can already see this in the external world of like the distortion of what the old way of looking at medicine and health is really transforming. And we're realizing that our bodies have the ability, a magnificent ability to heal if we look at everything holistically and we create harmony from the inside out. That is where we need to start, from the inside. So there is something here, Aquarians, for you this month about starting to shift and listen to our bodies, talk to our body. And if you're going through something physical right now, it's just that your body's trying to help you understand what's going on within you more. Time to bask, switch off, tune out, and re-energize. And that's a key too, to help with your body, is to switch off the external world and the stress and the negativity, and do things that re-energize you, that help bring you into more groundedness and connection with yourself. And that could be, going out in nature. It could be going for a swim or taking a vacation or something like that. And choose peace. Be responsible for your serenity. You are the only one who can control your inner world. So if everything in the external is the controller of your life, about your emotions and your mental state, you obviously realize that you've gave away your power. And you have a distorted view on how we work in this reality. So you can choose serenity and peace. Now, there's a key here. There's a disclaimer, though. We can't continue to put ourselves in experiences, situations, relationships that take our peace away from us, and think that we're going to be able to maintain peace. So, sometimes it is. Sometimes we need to figure out how we can find our own peace, because obviously not everything in the world all the time is going to just support our peace. But people tend to have been programmed to believe they need to stay in these things that continue to hold them down, that suck the soul out of them, that don't fill you up. They don't fill you up at the core of your soul. And that's where we need to find more of what that is through our authenticity and our truth. And that's going to be a huge theme for April. All right, let's dig into some tarot. 8 of Cups. That card has been coming out a lot as well. So we are finally able to move away from the very things I talked about. We're elevating our lives. We're making decisions to walk away and change things that aren't serving us anymore. And that's where a lot of changes are happening. We're starting to awaken to a lot of things that we used to be okay with, that was like careers, jobs, relationships, ways of living, where we were fine with it, maybe even like 2 years ago, but now we're not anymore. Queen of Stars. So this again is grounding into and building our own reality based on what nurtures us. And then the 10 of Cups. So this is the path. This is the path to get to a life that's fulfilling and harmonious from a soul level, is to identify the things and walk away from the things that are emotionally taking away from us. And then we on our own need to be able to ground into our life. And what is this life we want to look like? It's something that is sacred, that's our own sanctuary, and we're nurturing the self. We're building that core relationship with our physical body, our emotional body, and our mental body, and that's where we get holistic harmony. And from this place of going within and doing that work, we then attract different physical experiences. Okay, we have the Chariot, and this is going to happen a lot faster than it used to. So the heart of your reading is the World. So that is big. That's a big card to be at the heart of your reading. There's major endings and new beginnings in April for you. Judgment. That card has also been coming out a lot. And so look at this. Major arcana here in the center. So the core of what's happening for you is this is like life-changing things. This is major rebirths. This is major changes in your life that's completely changing. Like I said, it could be a complete change of career. This could be a complete, leaving a relationship that you've been in forever, a marriage. This could be a rebirth of how you see the world and show up in the world and interrelate with others. And you're doing things different. Your whole day-to-day routines could completely change. And that's a big focus too for the astrology this month, is the astrology is going to really change and shift up what our daily routines look like. The Ace of Swords, or Wands, sorry. Four of Cups, and the Magician. So we need to make sure that we don't get into this. This, to me, the Four of Cups is a lot about being disappointed. With all these changes, it can bring up a lot of focusing on these things that were your core kind of base foundations of your life, and you're realizing that they weren't what they appeared to be. You created a false sense of safety and security, or foundation on these, and kind of built your whole life upon these things, like a marriage, a job. And now it's realizing that this is an opportunity from the universe. And instead, you might go through a little period of focusing too much on the loss, and of there is that sadness when things like that happen. But if you've seen the Four of Cups, the universe is offering this fourth cup behind you. And maybe you're not seeing the full manifestation of the fruits of the change that you're making. But, look at all these cards here. So you are the Magician, which is Gemini energy. So you're now realizing the power you hold with your voice, with your emotions, with your creativity, and your physical presence, and your resources here. And you're able now to realize how to use all of these to magnetize and to align with things. You're learning how to align instead of forcing things to happen, or I got to, getting out of this old mindset of I need to do, or be busy or work a lot, or like, put a lot of effort into the things to try and like make money or be successful. Like you're shifting your perspective on life. You're shifting. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like these are major transformative shifts happening for you. Like you're starting to see money differently. Maybe you were very money focused before, and now you're realizing like money doesn't really mean anything, especially if it's creating a lot of emotional turmoil and stress, right? And that success doesn't mean how much money you have, but success is about feeling fulfilled in your life and feeling secure in yourself, things like that. And this is that Ace of Wands. So there's like passionate new beginnings happening right now for you. I think this Four of Cups is a little bit of just like a blip on the radar, which is, understandable, especially when such big things are happening. Let's get a clarifier for that. Five of Crystals. Okay, so that's the Five of Swords. This is that shift out of, this is speaking to those of you who need to control, who are really learning and becoming more aware of your controlling behavior patterns, this need to control to feel safe. And this can cause some conflict as you're reprogramming this sort of mentality here. And you could also have a little bit of, when you find that true awareness, it's almost like you look back and there's the sadness again about how you lived your life for so long. And it's almost like what shoulda, woulda, coulda, or like I wasted my time always being stuck in this. It pushed away relationships. It created a lot of suffering for myself. This could also be if you have been dealing with someone like this and you're not sure how. This is that transformation of like, you're not going to engage in this sort anymore. And there's some truth coming out here. There's communication and truth about like, hey, I'm not engaging in this. We need to shift out of this. And if those people are not awakened or not willing to change, that's where you need to make some decisions about putting more distance with that person, and maybe you can't be as close. This could end in completely needing to end certain relationships, but not to go on a negative sense, but this is like major power coming in for you. Let's see, what's the Judgment card? Five of Pentacles. So intuitively with this deck here, so this person, it's almost like she shut herself in a cave, in this cold cave. So this awakening happening is like you're realizing that you metaphorically have been in a life where you felt really alone, very lonely, and hasn't been a lot of warmth and love and connection. And now like there's major breakthroughs where you're realizing, again, based on maybe your behavior patterns or your need to hold on to things that you needed to feel safe, you realize that it was a self-imposed kind of prison for you. Let's see. Ace of Wands. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, this is kind of like a aha moment, a major like lightning bolt of like, oh my God, like you're all of a sudden seeing something that you didn't see before. But there is something fated this month of like a rebirth, a transformation, and it's starting from the inside. And it's like coming through your awareness of like major breakthrough. Eight of Cups. Power of Life, or sorry, Flower of Life. So you are realizing the interconnected web of your life and how everything was creating what was going on internally for you. Hermit, yeah, major wisdom, spiritual wisdom coming in, major enlightenment. This was similar to the weekly reading I did for the first couple days of April. It's like the ending of March, beginning of April. Take a look at that reading as well, because it had a lot of similar themes. And since this is for April, that might help give you some perspective as well. So Aquarians, I love this reading for you. This is big. This is big stuff. So I'm going to pull one more I Ching message for you to close out the reading. All right, you got the 27 card, Nourishment, Mountain over Thunder. By feeding the desires of the ego, we encourage the growth of inferior spiritual qualities such as envy, self-pity, and distrust. Through meditation, we cultivate tranquility and receptiveness that allows wisdom to flow in, right? So you have the flower of the life and the Hermit. So you are very receptive this month to spiritual guidance and insight that's going to break through the ego. And the ego is definitely the one leading these controlling behaviors or leading too much with the mind and kind of manipulating yourself to think you have to be strategic or you have to play certain games to create ease in your life or to avoid conflict. Something that is coming up for me for some reason. But this is that place of coldness that we've created. We've closed ourselves off because the ego is working out of a place of like needing to ensure its safety and control. And that's what you're awakening to this month. All right, Aquarians, thank you so much for joining in. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go. Subscribing keeps you connected to the Soul Tribe here. And also you'll get notified if you hit that bell for future videos. And, let me know what's going on in 2026 for you all. I just love understanding and curious about all of our experiences. And that's what I do. And to see how people navigate this physical reality and also the spiritual journey. So thank you again for supporting me and supporting each other. And I will see you in the next reading.